Hi there, it's Nadine. I have asked for you guys as elementary district tech reps to go ahead and take a look at the changes in Google Classroom. Keep in mind that this is still in beta format. The actual changes will not go into effect until the first week of August. And Tony and I decided that it would be a good idea to have you guys as an additional person to go ahead and provide feedback for Google, and also so that when teachers start at the first couple weeks of school, if they're a little bit flustered about the changes, you guys are going to be another go-to person when I'm not in the building to be able to answer questions that they might have. So I'm going to get right into this. I've added you as a co-teacher so that way you guys can all see the same items that are in here. What you will notice right now is that you can't see the changes until Google has released it to everybody else. So let me get started here. So the stream is actually where I'm going to get started. And this is what you guys are used to seeing as like your home page. We used to see this as the place where all of our assignments were posted. And instead, what this is going to become is an area where a student can see an overview of all assignments that they have coming up. So in other words, if you have different topics, so, a lot of teachers were using it for reading, for writing, and for math. You may have had one that was for science and social studies. Now, instead of the student having to continuously scroll down, now they're going to be able to see at a snapshot what all of these assignments are in a nutshell. I've just added one in here just to give you the feeling of what it looks like. So now I'm going to go ahead and talk about classwork. So classwork has now become the area where you are adding in your topics, and under each one of these is where it's going to be posted your assignment. Now I am going to shut off the video camera for a moment because I want you to be able to see this part looks exactly the same. So whenever I'm ready to add an assignment, I'm going to hit that plus sign. And when I hit it and I go into create an assignment, it still has all of those same features. All of this part looks exactly the same. But notice down here it says no topic. This is where I'm going to drop down, and let's say that I'm going to add something under reading. All of this part is exactly the same. So I'm going to add an assignment like I normally do, go into my Google Drive like I normally do. Anytime I want to add something, remember recent pops up at the top. I am going to simply go in here and add just an item. So I'm adding my list of hyperdocs. So on here, all these options are still the same. View it, edit it, or make a copy. So let's say that I want to make a copy for everybody. All of these options again are exactly the same. So I'm going to hit assign, and then after I hit that, it will appear on there. Looks like it's taking a moment to pop up for me. Okay, so under reading, the students now see that they have 2 assignments. One thing that I am gonna stress this year is having some type of a due date, not necessarily for K-2, but as the students get into 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, I do think that it's going to be beneficial to add a due date in there. And the reason for that is that notice over in this corner that we also have in there a classroom calendar. So the student can literally hit that and it will give them an overview of the week. So that way they can actually see their plan for the week and what they have going on, just so that you know that. Okay. So again, going back into classwork, all of these things are very similar. One of the things that you're really going to like is that you can move up or move down those items. So in other words, if you're really wanting them to make sure that they see an assignment that's up at the top. Okay. People. We used to have one that said students, and the kids had one that said classmates. So now this one is people, and in a moment, this is where I'm going to be adding you guys as teachers. Now, don't panic. At first, I got worried because of the fact that it said on here, invite students or give them the class code. I immediately sent feedback to Google and said, oh my goodness, for our young learners, we used to be able to display the code. What happened to that option? So what I've discovered is that they've just kind of shifted things around. So it's not that it's gone. I happen to find it when I go back to the stream. Notice over here, it says about. So if I tap on about, that's where the class code is going to appear. And now I can display it large. So I got worried that was gone, but it's not. It's just that they've just kind of tweaked where things are. Okay. Speaking of about, so you're going to notice that the about tab is gone. So what I'm going to be telling teachers is that instead, because we used to use the About tab to have frequently visited sites and so on. When I talked to the people at the Google booth, their recommendation, which I thought was a pretty good one, they basically said, I'm going to turn my camera off again. They basically said on here to add another topic, and you can have it say resources. And so, and a teacher can name it whatever they want, like frequently visited sites or something like that. So then basically under that resources tab, on that section, then a teacher can go in and add links to quizzes, add a link to Kahoot, add a link to the reading series. Again, I still think that it's beneficial for the students to have one go-to place to have all of that basic information, so that way they're not feeling like that they're pinging all over the place. Oh, was that under math or was that under reading? Because for instance, when you use quizzes, you're going to use it with math and reading, not necessarily just one subject. So this is basically it in a nutshell. And one of the things that I did want to point out is that over in this corner, it's kind of covered up by my menu here. It's actually got a little question mark and it says send feedback. I can't tell you how important it is for you guys to be able to send feedback to Google, because when you do that, they do actually listen. That's where all of these changes came from, which reminds me, there is another new item that I wanted to point out to you, which I think is pretty cool. I'm double checking with Tyler and with our IT department on how this is going to work, but I wanted you guys to be able to see. So this is me going into an assignment, and obviously nobody has completed it yet. But over on this side, it looks a little different. So that's where I've got the instructions. So if I want to add a class comment there to the whole class for them to see it. When I go back to student work, yesterday when I tapped on the settings wheel, I got really excited because this says copy all grades to Google Sheets, download all grades to a CSV files. And what that means, guys, is that it means that if it works correctly, you will then be able to download your grades from Google Classroom and we can upload it to Infinite Campus. So that one, out of all of the changes, is the one that I'm really not going to point out big time to teachers. That's the one that it's going to take some, fixing and me double checking with Tyler and all of those things. But I definitely wanted you guys to see that if that works, that's going to be a big game changer for us. Okay. Reach out to me if you guys have any questions. I am sending out an email to all teachers, basically telling them to hold off on creating a new Google Classroom, because what Google has said is that if somebody made their own Google Classroom for next year already, it's not going to have the new features. So I need you guys to make sure, if you're in the building and so on, I'm trying to let teachers know ahead of time. If you already made one, you're going to have to make a new one. Okay. That should be it. Again, contact me if you guys have any questions.